That's it. They got to 1. We're on.
I came back.
Nate is back.
I made it back, everybody.
I feel like it's been like a month.
If it has felt like
All
that.
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's been 2 weeks, but.
Well, 2 weeks, 1 month.
That's right.
Same thing.
That's right. Well, we are back. Welcome to Mohawk Table Talk. My name is Mike. This is Nathaniel, and with us, guest person today, John Lucas, sales manager at Mohawk Honda.
You just say guest.
That's
How's
right,
everybody
guest.
doing? I'm surprised Nate's back. When I asked Mott to come on the show, he said Nate abandoned the show. So
Oh boy,
I wasn't
here we
sure.
go.
I
Here we
wasn't
go.
sure.
We knew he was under the weather, and we're glad he's feeling better. So we're all amped up. We have a lot to talk about today. And if this is your first time viewing Mohawk Table Talk, welcome. Whatever platform you're watching on, please feel free, if you're on the live, to chime in if you have any questions. And our producer, Jared, who's behind the scenes today, not on camera like last week, will be happy to relay that to us. If you're watching the replay, we certainly appreciate it. Please like and share, and also if you have comments, please put them in the comments. But just a quick rundown, Mohawk Table Talk, we're coming to you live or on the replay from the Mohawk Honda Studios in upstate New York. And Mohawk Auto Group is based just north and west of Albany, New York, which is the capital, of course.
North and west,
So
I
we
like
kind of are plugged into what's going on, and we bring to you every week at 12:30 on Tuesday the latest and greatest from the car business, which includes both what's going on locally and regionally, and then nationally and in the world. So we try to cover it all, and we do it all in about 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah, we try our best to make sure that you're an educated buyer, because educators buyers make the best buyers,
Absolutely.
and we do mean that here at Mohawk Auto Group. And there's a lot. I mean, right now we have a lot of things pending over our heads.
A lot.
And one of the things that we're going to talk about today is when buying a brand new car, young people, we're in 18 to 25, Johnny, around there.
Yeah, I'd say 18 to 25.
18 to 25-year-olds are having a harder and harder time finding a vehicle that suits their needs, and it not because of the price of the car. Sometimes.
Yeah. It's probably some of both, right?
It's a little bit of both, but it
everything's
might
more
be
expensive.
some other fees that we may not know, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yep.
But before we do that,
We have some cool stuff going on locally.
some cool stuff locally. And I've been out, about doing things, and one of the things that I've been doing has been our plate change challenge and a brand new podcast to the Mohawk realm.
That's right.
Rips and Whips, everybody. So make sure you check that out. That's Fridays. We're still getting a time down. It's kind of hard to pin MJ down
He's
on
busy.
a Friday, but
Tough
he's
to pin
always
him down
busy.
anywhere.
So, but Rips and Whips is one of our brand new podcasts that we're doing, and it is for those card holder enthusiasts, people that trade cards, different things like that. We are going to be ripping cards live and talking about the vehicles behind us. So tune in on Fridays for that. But Plate Change Challenge, we just filmed the final episode at the Joe Bruno Stadium.
Whoa.
But we can't tell you what
Friday
happened.
night.
We can't say what
Where
happened.
I can't say what happened.
That's right. You have to tune in for the.
You're going to have to tune in for all the episodes coming up, starting with this week is going to be our teaser to kind of highlight some of the fun things that have been going on. And I got to say, the finale is going to be good.
Ooh, the whole thing is good. So if you haven't been following, the Plate Change Challenge is something that we do internally to keep, focus on a bunch of things, but especially team morale and our team together. We like to, anything that can bring us together is a good thing, right? It helps us serve the community, it helps us serve our customers. So it's really going to be a pretty cool thing. And if you watched in prior years, you know that we have a reigning champion who was involved in the finale.
Yes.
So you're gonna have to tune in to see how that worked out.
We definitely switched it up this year. It's no longer a 1v1, but a 4v4.
Okay.
And
True team atmosphere.
Have you competed before?
I've competed in the 1v1. I've never done the 4v4.
I've never done the 4v4, but I will say the 1v1 was extremely nerve-wracking. Extremely nerve-wracking.
You have TV cameras on.
Yeah, I don't know if the camera does it enough justice, but ask anyone who's done it, you're nervous when you're doing it.
Yeah, we used to do it for the March Madness. We would have our own bracket, but this year we decided to switch it up, more Survivor-esque. So if you are a friend of Survivor, you watch Survivor, or MTV's The Challenge, we kind of intermingled those with some puzzles, with some cipher challenge, some brain challenges, some physical challenges. So it's going to be good. So make sure you tune into that. That will be starting this week. And look out for the post when that comes out. And make sure you share it. We want everyone to have some fun with us, to see everything that we're doing here at Mohawk, because we're not normal. And we're
Well,
not just saying that.
That's right, and it's not all about. There's a lot
And it's
about.
not just my mom that says that either.
There's a lot about selling and servicing vehicles, of course, but there's a lot more than that. And if you see most of our posts on social, whichever platform you follow us on, and if you don't, please like and follow whichever platform is your favorite. You'll get all that info. And speaking of that, some other local things. I know Jared was just live the other day, and we may have finished the round of gift cards, right, for a new
Yeah,
Schenectady.
we just finished 6 weeks.
It-
6 weeks. Ending off with the last 2 restaurants, $200 a piece.
Whew.
Wow.
So we did $100 to 4 local restaurants, and then we did $200 each for 2 other local restaurants, Mila's and The Nest.
Oh wow! And we were talking about it 2-3 weeks, and we're on the last week, and we didn't get
It
any
was Christmas
samples.
in July.
That's right. We were going to get some samples, and we were going to bring them on the show, and all this other stuff. Well, we didn't do that.
I mean, we could still do that.
I want to come on for that episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Next week.
So please make sure you support the local, the local establishments that we support. They certainly appreciate it. We appreciate it, and this is all in the spirit of New Schenectady.
Yep,
which,
New Schenectady.
which is where the Honda store is, of course, and Boston Spa, where the Chevy store is, and Rap King certainly has some great establishments too. But certainly support the folks that helped us with that gift card.
It might
card
sound
challenge.
a little weird they're calling New Schenectady. The whole premise of this is that Schenectady is not what you and I used to know it to be. Like, you would never even think about walking downtown. Downtown has changed dramatically. And I'm
big
only
deal.
30, all right, guys? I'm not that old. But in the years that I've been here, it has dramatically changed. Buildings are now being built. Restaurants are coming back
Yep.
in. And you can actually walk the street and go to these restaurants
Yeah.
and be a patron.
And feel good about it. And
feel good
I
about
didn't grow up around here, so I don't really have a perspective on it. But I know John did. You right? You grew
I
up in
did.
the area. What?
Yeah, I agree with what Nate said. I mean, when I was growing up, everyone was, I don't want to go to Schenectady. I don't want to go to Schenectady. But over the past 5, 6, 7 years or so, it's really evolved. It's really a nice place to go. I mean, I go there with my family, have dinner. Like Nate said, you can walk downtown, no problem. And it's really nice to see, especially growing up around here, how far it's come over the past 5, 6 years.
Yeah, and that community, it's nice that we're, of course, part of that community here. We live here, we work here, we play here. So anything we can do to support the local community who supports us certainly works in our favor. So that's a big deal. Those are some of the things that we have going on here at the dealership.
A few more things.
Couple more
we got
things.
the Drive for Inclusion, which was postponed 2 weeks ago.
That's right. All that.
Is going to be this week at Mohawk Chevrolet, August 10th. So that's just a good event for you good free event. Bring the family out and come choose your favorite vehicle. You have the power to choose the people's choice whose car you like the most. So make sure you come out for that. And before we get started, this is the first of the month, so shout out to all of our customers that made last month so spectacular, so awesome. Honda reaching over 500 cars, Chevy reaching over 300 cars in sales, and a lot more ROs than I can count on my hands.
Thousands.
For service. So shout out to everybody that is a part of the Mohawk community, making us able to do these charity events, to be able to give back to the community that is so generous to us. So
Yeah, it was really it was really amazing. We were as busy as could be, which is a good thing. But with 500 and so and 300, almost 900 vehicles delivered,
Yeah.
and thousands of customers through our service departments when you consider both stores. And it kind of felt like almost like we went past some of the stuff that we were dealing with in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
What John is one of the sales managers, of course, so he sees this firsthand. What did you see? Did you see like a difference in traffic? Like were people
Yeah.
in a different frame of mind?
Yeah, it seemed like last month was the first month that in a little bit that felt like a normal summer in the car business. Customers were coming in, walk-in traffic was up. I think a big telling sign on walk-in traffic is from 5 to 8 o'clock at night. When it starts to get busy, when people get out of work, you know that the people are in the market to buy cars and it's a good environment. I saw quite a bit of an uptick in that, so that's been good. And yeah, I think people are kind of over all the tariff noise and all of that, and we're ready to move forward. And I'm excited to be part of the team and see what the next couple months lead us.
Yeah, that's good news. And on to August. We're a few days in already. Did that round out our local events?
Yeah, I mean, do we want to touch on new vehicles and used vehicles, or?
Yeah, we can. As far as inventory goes, I feel like we've said it a couple times. We'll continue in our main segment here, but there was certainly a stigma about like whether cars are going to be available, and we had tariffs that we were talking about, and last week we talked about the EV tax credit and what is coming up here in the end of September in terms of that being removed. So there's like a lot of motion here in making people kind of think once or think twice about whether they should buy a vehicle. The good news is, as far as inventory goes, I wouldn't say there's a ton, but there's enough for everybody, right? We haven't had to turn anybody away because we couldn't get the Honda or the Chevrolet that they wanted. And used vehicles, we're turning them very quickly. So we certainly have seen a change from people, maybe those people that would normally buy a new car. A lot of times they're buying used cars now, right? Have you seen that change too, John?
Yeah, 100%. I think what Mike said is, there's not an overwhelming amount of inventory, but there's enough for everybody. And for the most part, we've been able to make it work for every customer that comes in the door, whether they're looking for a Honda. Sounds like they're having the same success up at Chevy. But yeah, if it's not a new car, we have the used cars. And I believe we have more used cars this month than we've had in a long time.
We do. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. We're keeping pace with what we need. But a lot of those vehicles came from trades. So when we see inventory increase in the used department, that's usually a sign that the prior month had a lot of new cars sold. Therefore, people were trading in on those new cars. So that's kind of where we stand on the new and used car inventory, which is a good thing. That's a real good thing.
Definitely. All right.
Yeah, let's
That's
get
all
into
we
our
got
main.
for the local, and now it's time to get into the main segment, which we talk about money and increasing and inflation and all of this, and we are seeing an increase at the moment, right? We're seeing an increase in parts, prices of parts and vehicles, and we're noticing that there's an average, right? I don't know about how true this is, but according to Cox Automotive, KBB, Car Edge, and a few others, the average price in June 2025 was around $51,100. $51,100.
Wow, and that's
Which-
up from 48,000. Yeah.
And that was 48,000. And then used car listing price are averaging around 25,500. So $25,500.
And that's a lot of money.
And that's a lot
New
of money.
or used,
Oh, yeah.
that's a lot of money.
And I remember when I was like 18 to 25, I'm only taking home probably $600 every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So like to even think about a car payment to be around $700 a month is super scary to me.
It is.
Right? And so now we're kind of seeing, and Johnny's the one that actually brought this up. That's why we have him on the show today. But that realized to me, I don't even know what it is now for, if it was $600 to $800 then, what is it now compared to, 10 years? 10 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's significantly more. I think we probably group this in with a lot of other things that have, kind of inflated, right? Like whatever, that cable bill, those fuel bills for your house, and all this other kind of thing. Everything is more money, right? So that's why that affordability crunch is really what we talk about with everybody. And what we want to do is just kind of address what's going on in terms of how Mohawk can assist with that. We think we have a lot of resources to do that. One thing we know for sure is that in my show notes here, there are just huge posts, which you can't see online, but just posts that show dollar signs and warn people about just the amount of money that everything costs, especially vehicles. So I believe that affordability is the biggest obstacle to overcome, not just for car dealers, but for everybody. And as a consumer, if you already bought a vehicle or considering buying one, that's the biggest obstacle. John, what have you seen in terms of a change in consumer sentiment, like how people are feeling when they come to the dealership? How have you seen that change in the last few months to a year?
Yeah, I think in the past year you've seen people growing with concern about how much the car payments are going to be and how much of a jump it could be from their last car payment.
Right.
Whether it's a lease, whether they finance the car, whatever the case may be, there's a consistent concern there. specifically with young people. And I think with young people, the 18 to 25 age range, you guys might be surprised based on my appearance, but I'm not that far removed from that. Where I was,
What are you, 18?
Yeah, right.
Well, that's the running joke.
I
but,
get that all the
yeah.
time. Well, yeah, when I was 22 years old, I was working, trying to go to school. You got a car payment, you got a car insurance, and all that stuff adds up. So for me, it's important when we have young customers specifically to educate them on the best way to go forward. A lot of times that's a certified car. Sometimes it's a new lease. And for us at Mohawk, having such a good relationship with the community also means we have good relationships with the insurance companies, which is a big factor, a big variable in young people getting cars. If they've never had an insurance policy on their own before, that can be just as much, if not more, than a car payment. So, educating the customers on the best route to go for their given circumstance and having the relationships with the insurance companies to help the customers are huge. But as an overall sentiment, yeah, the customers, there's concern about, how much the cars could be going up, the prices of the cars, and as a dealership, our job is to educate the customers and put them in a car that makes the most sense for them and their family.
Yep, absolutely, and that's what we try to do all the time. I see a couple different segments there, right? There are maybe the folks, younger people, or to generalize, younger people that maybe haven't purchased a car before.
Yeah.
And boy, it's a lot of money between a car payment and then you add insurance, which you don't really think about until after you start thinking about the car, right?
Yeah.
Insurance rates certainly have gone up. Those aren't the same as they were 5 years ago or 10 years ago. So rates have gone up, car payments have gone up, and so you have that amount of money that you need to spend. And like John mentioned, especially for a newer buyer, one of the things that I always chat with these younger folks about is to make sure that you're limiting any risk you have when you're making the purchase, right? So that could be if you buy a new vehicle, the vehicle's brand new, very little risk, you have a full warranty, all that kind of thing. And maybe the next tier down to save a little bit of money on the purchase price, but still get that assurance would be a certified pre-owned vehicle. And we've seen, along with all the national numbers, have seen an increase in certified vehicles.
Yep.
And that may have a lot to do with it. So we've certainly seen that. The other segment that John mentioned really quickly are folks that 3 or 4 years ago bought a vehicle, maybe not as young, maybe bought a number of vehicles, have a certain car payment, but this time the car payment for a similar car is much more money.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to deal with the reality that here's another, monthly payment. Here's another bill that's more. Add that on top of the cable bill, on top of the energy bill, on top
All
of
going up.
everything. Everything is going up. So those are certainly valid concerns. And like John mentioned, we certainly have resources to try to get you some options
Yeah.
to at least minimize your increase. So I mean that's kind of like the big topic at hand is affordability. It's really Nate, what have you seen, as maybe you're not on the sales floor as much as the two of us are, what have you heard from folks about just overall expense for these new cars?
Overall, when I mention to someone, whenever I'm talking to someone, they're like, oh, so average car probably now like 55,000. Like when they look at a car, they just assume it's like around that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, like the new cars are probably around there. Someone like, wow, that's crazy. And typically they're looking for a used car, right? They're looking for affordability, and in my realm, I think affordability to my generation is like 30,000. Like that's like the sweet spot is what they're really looking for is a 30,000 ish, between 29 and 35. Like fit it in my budget with my 2 kids and vacation and enough space for all of that, and I think I'll be good.
Yeah, and still, that's a lot of money.
Right.
It's funny that nowadays, as I'm looking at this post here on cars.com that says, the new golden price range is under $25,000 for a used car, right? And that means if somebody is now going out looking for, geez, I hope I can find a used car that's in that $20,000 or $21,000 range, which that's great. That seems like a lot of money, right? To be thinking that that's the target. When I remember in days of old, it used to be 15,000.
Yep.
And then before that, it was 10,000. And those vehicles just don't exist, at least not with that are late model, that aren't 2 or 3 years old. So,
yeah, at that point, you're looking for a 20-year-old car.
Yeah,
it's got 400,000 miles on it.
25,000. When I first started here, you could get CRV for $25,000,
Yeah.
brand new.
And that wasn't that long ago.
No.
Well, it was a number of years ago.
8 years ago, but still, yeah, not that crazy.
Yeah, and back to John, as far as how we can help, we have a lot of resources to assist at both stores, Mohawk Honda and Mohawk Chevrolet. When we greet John, when we greet that maybe, let's say, the first time buyer that comes to the dealership and has heard great things about Mohawk and Mohawk Honda and Mohawk Chevrolet, and they come in and they say, geez, I'm looking for my first car and I'd like some advice in order to keep it reasonable. Can you walk the folks through, like, how can we help those folks, and what does that look like in terms of what we do to help?
Yeah, I mean, our goal is going to be to find you the right car and to make it affordable. That's the goal. That's always been the motto. For the young person, it's going to most likely be, especially if they're by themselves, it's going to be an education process. You don't know what you don't know. Oftentimes, we're going to go over options on, like Mike was saying earlier, a certified car. You have the warranty on the certified car, or maybe, young person doesn't drive that much. A lease. And we go over leasing options because you're fully covered with the warranty from the manufacturer. Help establish your credit in 3 years as opposed to a 6-year loan on a pre-owned car or a 5-year loan, whatever the case may be. And then there's other variables, right? There's, do you have a family? Are you a single woman or a man? And do we take in all those factors? And we just have a conversation. And I think something I talk to the customers about and the salespeople about is, we're here to sell a product, but at the end of the day, we're here to help people and service people. And you can't do that without having conversations and listening and finding out what they genuinely are here to accomplish. We know they're here to buy a car, but buying a car can look a lot of different ways. Maybe they don't know what this process looks like. And if we can educate them and help them make the right decision for either them or them and their family, then we did our job, and I think the customer will leave very happy.
Yeah, that's a great point. That consultation, that consultative service that we provide at Mohawk is so important. If there's any message that I want to echo from what John just said, is that we can assist with giving a number of options, right? It's not just one thing. It's not just here's the price of a car or here's how much it costs, but maybe give you a number of options. That way you can decide and you can chat with your family. You can, fire questions back at us. We want to be involved in that process. We want to help and give you more than just 1 or 2 or 3 options. And the good news is, with the inventory that we have and the connections that we have with banks and leasing and stuff like that, we definitely have the option to do that. So the other thing that's I don't know if it's more difficult, but it's kind of on a different vein, are those folks who have bought a number of vehicles, right? And buying vehicles 5 or 10 years ago or prior, including myself, was much different than it was, then. And I don't know if Nate's in that category because he keeps talking about his generation or not. But Nate's bought a few cars. I shouldn't say that. Nate's bought a bunch of cars, and it seems like it's different now, isn't it, than it was 5 years ago?
It's definitely did. And when I was buying the vehicle, well, I'm still buying vehicles, but the vehicles that I bought were, the first one I ever bought was from my grandma. I bought it from my grandma it was a 2003 Chevy Malibu, and I bought it for $3,000 from from a scholarship, so I could drive. So I used my high school scholarship so I could drive to college, and then after that vehicle went down, I bought a 2007 Honda Civic.
Okay.
But I bought it with 125,000 miles on it.
Yeah, but it's a Honda.
Just getting started.
Yeah, that's right. That's not.
And I got that for $8,000, I think.
Okay.
So,
which at the time probably wasn't too bad.
No. I mean, it was a lot, but at the same time, that was the budget. Mm-hmm. Now I feel like this same car would be like $15,000.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
It'd probably be 2013 with $125,000, and that would get me to $15,000 price range.
Yeah, just the prices of everything, as everybody knows. We keep saying it, and you know this, that the prices of everything are just elevated, right? They're inflated from what they were before. I think a lot of our customers, me included, we make monthly payments, and a lot of times that monthly payment, whether it's a purchase payment or a lease payment, is kind of how we judge, whether the car is more expensive or not, right? And because I know I do. Everybody has a budget. I have a budget. So back to John, with focus on that, the folks who have maybe, let's just say, leased a vehicle, even a Honda from us before, and now they come back and looking at a new Honda, and the payments are just much different. What sort of options do we have for those folks? Kind of how has that gone in terms of process when folks come into the showroom asking us about those options?
Yeah, we have a lot of different options, whether it's using different leasing companies, different banks, looking at alternative vehicles. But I think the biggest thing, honestly, is similar to like we were talking about with the young people is, you know, we can only do so much about the price of the car, but the customer deserves to know that we understand. Have the conversations when they come in that, you know, we're still buying cars too. Just because we work here doesn't mean we're not making car payments too. Like, we're having the same conversations at our dinner table that you're having at your dinner table. It might look a little different because we work at dealerships, but overall, we still understand what a budget is. I mean, I know I have an 18-month at home. I got to factor that in when I buy a car, just like the person I'm in front of probably is factoring in, you know, a number of different variables when they buy a car. So the biggest thing is we have a lot of options, so that's awesome. We have a lot of inventory, that's awesome. We have great relationships with the bank, that's awesome. But the biggest thing I still think is just having the conversations and being understanding of the customer's wants and needs, and, you know, reasoning with them and trying to figure out some kind of common ground where, because, you know, they come in, they're looking to accomplish something. People need vehicles, people need cars. It's our job to make that process as smooth and easy as possible, and most importantly, connect with the customer and build relationships.
Yeah, that's so great. And I think that's what most people want to hear, right? They don't want to hear just, well, here's the price and take it or leave it. You know, I mean, that's certainly not a Mohawk way to do things. So that consultative nature is just so important. And one thing that we talk about frequently, because we're in the prior episodes, we talked about EVs. We haven't talked about that yet today. Well, EVs.
We haven't talked about EVs yet until right now.
That's right. Well, things change, right? Like meaning in people's lifestyles. Yep. So sometimes somebody that may have purchased a bunch of vehicles, they were all gas powered, might consider an EV, right? That's a change. Or somebody that, and I'll include myself in that, somebody that had younger children and you needed a certain type of vehicle. Now my kids are grown, and you don't need that same type of vehicle anymore.
Right.
So for somebody like me, and there's a lot of folks like this, that maybe you don't need that same type of vehicle on your next purchase. So you may be able to go a little smaller.
Right.
You may be able to get that 2-door sports car. No, we don't have that, but you know, something like that.
Not yet.
Something like that. But you know, not to completely change, but we do want to circle back. When I was sitting with Jared last week, everybody who tuned in, we talked about EVs, meaning electric vehicles, specifically battery electric vehicles, that we all know has been a big topic. John speaks with folks all the time. I can speak for him on our new Honda Prologue models that are a couple years old now and very popular. And last week, we spent some time talking about that EV federal income tax credit that as of now is still scheduled to end. That credit extension is scheduled to end on September 30th. So that is the federal tax credit again,
it's a lot of money.
For new vehicles is $7,500 as of right now, and has been, and for used vehicles it's up to $4,000 with a bunch of parameters to that program. So those are scheduled to end. You know, we can ask both of you. I mean, have you heard any feedback on that? Like, what's going on out in the market? Like, are people talking about it? They're just kind of saying, "Oh, that's what it is," or like what? That's kind of a big thing. I think it's a big thing.
It is a big thing. I think that even though people are a lot more scared of it, a lot of people want hybrids.
Yeah.
You know, every time that I would talk about an electric vehicle, everyone, I think they tried to do it too soon, which I understand, like trying to move to the future, right? As fast as we possibly can. Apparently that's what we love to do. But for the forward progressive thinking people, which if you ever listen to Simon Sinek, is like this part of the graph, and then you have everybody else.
Yeah.
And we're trying to fit everybody in this. And like, no. Oh, I'm getting excited. Everyone's like, we're moving too fast. Let's just go with hybrid first. So I think the more that hybrids come out, you have to ease people. You're like, you will have range anxiety now. You must take care of this. But I do think, personally, for those that have two parents in the household, typically you're going to go on vacation. You're gonna want a longer range vehicle, right? But for the everyday drive, you could definitely have a battery electric vehicle and not even flinch twice. Mm-hmm. So, like, you got to get the kids. You got to go drive around the capital region for a hot minute. You just come home, plug it in. You never have to worry about going to the gas station or anything like that. You just get home, plug it in, and you always have somewhere to go. Mm-hmm. You always have the ability to go wherever you need to. And then For the other person that has to drive that, so when you do want to go on longer vacations and the space, so you'll have a bigger vehicle for that. And then you have your two, because most households have two vehicles.
Yeah.
Right? So if you, this is apparently just my strategic brain working. you have the battery electric vehicle that's going to save you on gas, maintenance.
Right.
And then you have the bigger vehicle that will be driven daily, but you'll have that for all of the big adventures that you want to go on. And there you go.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty that
will be a hybrid.
That seems like how the country is kind of morphing into that, right?
That's how I feel it's going to go.
Yeah, and the hybrid vehicles, which both stores were at Chevy and Honda, we're proud to say that both manufacturers offer a bunch of hybrid vehicles.
Yep.
I drive a hybrid. I drive an Accord hybrid.
So do I.
And so does John.
CRV.
So, CRV hybrid?
ZRV hybrid, yeah.
Okay, so look at that. We have three guys on the panel today that all drive hybrids. That wasn't planned at all. But so that's a way to save. Just so we, as we come to the end here, just to kind of wrap up our topic, we'll ask John again, whether it's new vehicles, used vehicles, whether it's a brand new buyer that maybe hasn't bought before or bought a first car for that first real job, so to speak, or it's a returning buyer that just needs to get used to that sticker shock or that payment shock. What is some of your advice? What's kind of some of your general advice to those folks on how we can help?
My general advice would be come in with an open mind. Come in with an open mind. Know that we have your best interest at heart as well. We're nothing without the customers, right? So we want to help. We want to have those conversations with you, figure out what's the best thing for you and your family, or if you're just getting started, what's the best thing to get you started, establishing some credit, establishing some insurance history, whatever the case may be. Even if it's you want to come in, the news with the EV federal rebate going away, even if you just want to come in and see what that looks like, see how that could affect the payment down the road. Just come on in. Come in with an open mind. We're willing to have the conversations. We want to work with you. We want to be a help to the community. And my biggest piece of advice would be come in with an open mind. I'm sure if you come in with an open mind and you meet with one of us, we'll have conversations and we'll figure out a good path forward.
I love that. Can't ask for any more than that. And again, Mohawk Auto Group, we have a lot of resources. So whether that's for lending, for payments, whether that's for inventory, for selection, or even things that can help you save in your budget, like insurance. Right?
Yeah.
We have a lot of connections with different insurance brokers and companies. So sometimes that can help. So that's a pretty good wrap. We want to thank John for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Super helpful, and hopefully you pass this episode on to family and friends and everybody you know, because I think this stuff is at the top of everybody's mind, right?
Yep.
Geez, everything is more expensive. How am I going to handle that when I'm buying a car?
Right. Absolutely. I mean, everybody's thinking about it. I'm always thinking about it.
And we work here.
Yeah. But again, thank you everybody for watching, whether you're on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, our friends here on TikTok. Share this out. Let people know what is going on in the car market. Maybe you have friends that are looking to buy a vehicle or just starting to look for a vehicle, or you have parents that are thinking about getting a new vehicle. Send this over to them so they can take a listen, just so that they are aware of what is going on in the automotive industry at the moment.
Absolutely. We look forward to, that's a wrap on this episode, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Again, it's Mohawk Table Talk, coming to you live from the Mohawk Honda Studios every Tuesday at 12:30. We look forward to seeing you then.
See you.